The Rewatchables, brought to you by the Ringer Podcast Network, where we can find The Watch with Chris Ryan.
Sure can.
Pops on The Big Picture from time to time as well.
I do.
And about 9 other Ringer podcasts.
But I honestly am keeping it to the big three right now. But I'm always open.
Philly special, maybe, for the draft?
Perhaps. We'll see who we get at 3.
Who are you rooting for?
Trade down for Edgecombe.
Oh.
Get another piece.
There you go. It's still New York City month. It kind of just fell into New York City month.
I saw you did that.
5 episodes in June, though. We have to find 2 more New York movies after this.
Twist my arm.
Marathon Man was an easy one. We've been circling this one for a while. You kept nudging me.
I've been begging to get in the dentist chair.
I forgot to bring the book. I was going to put the book right out there. But anyway, Marathon Man is next.
Dustin Hoffman, Laurence Olivier, Roy Scheider, William Devane, Marta Keller.
Is it safe?
Is it safe? Marathon Man, a thriller, rated R.
This episode of The Rewatchables is presented to you by Amazon Prime. Prime is more than just fast delivery. It's also where you can dive deep into your favorite movie genres with Prime Video and get what you need fast to fuel your obsession. You also, if you watch a movie on Amazon Prime, you can click down and see the actors in each scene for a lot of the movies, which is great. Snacks for movie night, a new book on film theory. It's all there too on Amazon Prime. Whatever it is, Prime helps you get more out of whatever passions you're into or getting into. Head to Amazon.com/Prime and follow your obsession wherever it goes. Nazis. The greatest movie villains we will ever have.
This has been the Rewatchables.
We just peaked. We're just never going to top it. There's nothing better.
If you have a chance to get a vice angla in the movie, you gotta do it, man.
It's just, you can have all these different types of villains. You can make them as evil as you want. You can make them as intimidating, as tough as you want. But then you throw in Nazi war criminal walking through the jewelry district, hoping nobody recognizes him. And I'm like, we've peaked.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the, basically, Pauline Kael called this a Jewish revenge fantasy, Marathon Man. But I was thinking about what's like the top of the line for that. And Inglourious Bastards is probably number 1, right?
That would be the apex, yeah.
Marathon Man's in there. Munich?
For sure.
Raiders?
Well, he's not Jewish, but yeah.
But the Nazis are the villains in there.
Yeah, I mean, are you talking about just Nazi villains? Yes.
Some just being in somewhere in the vicinity where at some point you're watching the movie going, we got to take these guys down.
Yeah.
And this one has probably the single best villain of all those villains.
Which is weird because
Or would you go with Waltz and Bastards? It's tough.
It's tough. I think Christian Zell, because of he's got one move. And that move is pretty arresting. The dental work thing is like you take that.
I thought you were gonna say I suddenly have a razor coming out of my
he's got 2
sleeve.
Moves. Yeah, so he's got 2 moves. But Waltz Landa is pretty amazing and such an orator and just an incredible character in general. But Zell,
better entrance. Although Zell's entrance with the opera with him folding the shirts,
shaving his head,
pretty solid.
Yeah,
but Waltz's first scene is pretty great.
Yes.
I don't know. They're in the finals.
Pyramid?
We'll work on social. Nazi villain Mount Rushmore.
I want to find out who's the number 35 to 43 ranked Nazi villains.
What's funny? We can't have them anymore. Because now it's that you couldn't do this in the modern age because it's been too far away.
They're making
You need
push.
Grandchildren of the war villains. It just doesn't have the same, in my opinion, the same kind of zest.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I think when you're watching this film, we talked about this, I think on a pod recently, and I can't remember which one it was, but it's crazy to watch this movie that's 40 years old, and they're so much closer to World War II now that in this movie than we are even to this movie now.
I know.
And so it's a very living, breathing thing. And the idea that this guy has come out of hiding and his actual victims are like, holy fucking shit, the devil has come back, is like one of the most like terrifying, arresting moments in movie history to me.
And everything Olivier does with the character, and I can't wait to talk about Olivier.
About Larry.
Yeah, Sir Larry just I think what's so great about the character is he's fully evil.
Yeah.
The torture scene, you can just see it. You're like, okay, I get it. I get that this guy is as dark as we can get as humans. But then when there's a couple, like he's getting off in the airport, he's in the jewelry district, and he's got the right level of like, I'm actually nervous for my own safety.
Yeah.
You don't see like vulnerable, evil villains that often. Well, he balances it perfectly.
I think it was a case of the filmmakers playing into the realities of the actor. So Olivier is sick while making this movie. He's old. Like, he can't do a lot of physical stuff. He can't do a lot of stunts. He can't move around that much. But then every move he makes and everything he does takes on this huge amount of importance.
Yeah.
So they like played to his remaining strengths in the film itself. And the dentistry scene, which is one of the most horrifying things in movie history, is actually doesn't require a lot of him, right? Like, he's just sort of like pacing around this room a little bit and asking this question over and over and over again.
One of the greats.
Yeah.
Sir Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think, by all accounts, one of the greatest stage actors who ever lived. I don't know if he's 1, 2, 3, where he ranks in the pyramid.
It's like him and Barrymore.
But
I mean, of the modern
he has
era,
to be mentioned. If you're just being like, hey, who are the great stage actors? He's always has to be mentioned.
Yeah.
But part of, I think, what made him great when he's playing like Richard III, things like that, is he's got this physical presence walking around the stage. So by the time we get to Marathon Man, you know, and there's been some unbelievable writing about this movie. And Goldman has a whole chapter about it in his book about how physically frail he was and how hard it was for him to stand. But he's still an imposing guy.
Yeah.
So he's just the perfect balance of old, frail, scary. I actually still believe like he could kill Hoffman.
Sure.
And it's just an awesome performance, which of course he does not win. But he was inspired. His character in this movie is the White Angel, but it was inspired by Mengele, who was the Angel of Death, and it was the same thing in the concentration camps. He would just see him with the white. They would see him with the white hair, and they just knew. So it's based on that.
Yeah, Goldman's idea. So this is Goldman wrote the screenplay based on his own novel, and I think the genesis for the novel was, what if Mengele had to come out of hiding or go to New York to get medical treatment.
Right. Or to get some sort of something.
What happens when you put a character like that in play, a person like that in play, and then he builds out the world from around that?
So he writes the book, he publishes it in 1974.
Mm-hmm.
That's less than 30 years after World War II ends. Still pretty fresh. Like, think about it now. In 2025, that's 95. So that's like basically the OJ trial.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem like it happened that long ago, right? Even though it did, even though like Craig, was born that year.
Would have loved to hear Christian Zell's takes on the OJ trial.
He probably would have been able to get a better confession out of OJ. Goldman writes the book knowing it's going to be a movie because it just reads perfectly as a movie, sells the film rights for $500K, bringing in our guy, Big Shot Bob, Robert Evans.
So it's funny.
Ally McGraw, the kind of legs that can stop a room.
It's a wonderful picture. There's a making of, I was going to save this for What's Age the Best, but there is a making of Marathon Man on YouTube.
I can't believe I missed
20 minutes. And it's also, I think it's also on the 4K. It's Robert Evans. His foot's up on the chair. He's got a navy V-neck sweater and a perfectly like starched white shirt underneath. And he's standing there with his glasses and he's just like, ever since I came to Paramount, we love to make incredible pictures for everybody's entertainment. You'll see in the waterworks, we recreated that in Paramount and spared no expense. Took up 2 sound stages.
I can hear him saying it.
And the entire wall behind him is just pictures of Robert Evans.
Yeah. He was like a parody of a parody of a parody.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt did the greatest ever Robert Evans impersonation, but it's actually beyond impersonation. If you watch this video, I wish producers still did this today.
I just think the 70s weren't just the apex of unintentional comedy. It's I don't think we'll ever even come 10% close ever again.
No, the combination of cocaine and everything else is just incredible.
And it would manifest itself in some ways, like basically everything Telly Savalas did as Kojak, the Battle of Network Stars, the first couple years. There's a lack of self-awareness all over the place. But Bob Evans was the ultimate producer for that.
It would be
no self-awareness.
Fucking incredible though if we did the backdrop for you is just 100 pictures of you.
I think LeBron might have done that for Mind the Game. They might have talked him out of it. Bob Evans said, the book reads like the movie of all time. I regard it as a cheap investment because you don't often find books that translate into film. This is the best thing I've read since The Godfather. I knew I never should have let Ali McGraw leave with Steve McQueen. I knew I'd never get it back.
That son of a bitch, Peckinpah.
2 months with Steve McQueen, even I would have folded. So anyway, we have Bill Goldman, Bob Evans, and then they're like, let's just get a bunch of awesome, famous actors.
Yeah.
And not to step on casting what ifs, but Bob Evans said they actually went 5 for 5.
Yeah.
With the people they wanted for the movie in the roles they wanted and just got all of them because everybody loved the script.
Yeah, there was some rumors about if this person said no, we might look at this person, or like John Schlesinger, the director, might have wanted this person, but it sounds like Evans got his first draft picks.
Dustin Hoffman, Larry Olivier. I like that they call him Larry.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about my Laurence Olivier deep dive in the Indiana airport on Saturday. William Devane.
Wait, so you did Olivier into Dylan Harper tape?
Yeah. I'd finished my Marathon Man research and then went right into 4 hours of YouTube. And our guy, Roy Scheider.
Yeah.
Big time for him,
The
mid-70s.
Humphrey Bogart of the 1970s.
Yeah, love
the
that
thinking
guy.
man's action star.
Still recovering from Sean saying he wasn't handsome. Remember Sean's whole thing?
I mean, he's not conventionally handsome. He's got that nose.
Sean just downed him.
Yeah.
Poor Roy Scheider can't even defend himself. Just not handsome enough for Sean. Hoffman's the lead. He's coming off Lenny. This comes out same year as All the President's Men. He loses 15 pounds, runs 4 miles a day. And Evans said Hoffman would, quote, would run just for a take. He would run for a half mile. So he came into the scene, he would actually be out of breath. This was the height of Dustin Hoffman, difficult method actor guy.
Sure, yeah.
And
he pressed Olivier with it.
He did. So hold that because I want to get into some of those stories because we had Olivier too. This leads to All the President's Men, Marathon Man, The Straight Time in 78. You like that movie?
I do.
Agatha, Kramer versus Kramer.
That's 79, right?
We covered that on the Rewatchables. That's my favorite Dustin Hoffman movie and performance. 3 years off, Tootsie. 3 years off, Death of a Salesman on TV. 2 years off, Ishtar. He's doing a lot of stage stuff. Have we ever really had a Dustin Hoffman, how much did you like him conversation?
We haven't. He's probably of that cohort of 70s actors, 70s associated actors. I would say not necessarily. Like I go down to like Duvall, you know, like past Pacino, De Niro, Duvall, Hackman. You know, like I get pretty far down the 70s before I'm like, Hoffman's great. I mean, I think you can see like it's an interesting point in his career because he can impose his creative choices on the material rather than the reverse.
Yeah.
So if you read the book, Babe is much chattier, much funnier.
Yeah.
And is like kind of this like nervous, but is also supposed to be like 6'1" and kind of like a cut out a piece of rock, like a pretty big athlete. And Hoffman, it like makes him into a much more damaged, much more nervous, much shyer kind of character, I think. And that was obviously
not
his
against
choice.
it. The other side would have been pretty.
It's a different kind of movie. It's a different kind of movie. It's like a little bit more playful. And I'd say the novel is more playful.
It's weird. I'm with you. Like I could list a whole bunch of 70s actors and 80s actors before I'm like, and then Hoffman. You don't have a lot of conversations with people that are like, my favorite actor is Dustin Hoffman. That's my guy. I ride with Hoffman.
Do you think it's
everybody agrees he's really good? He's almost like an athlete where you're like, yeah, I really respect him, but not a huge fan.
Do you think maybe some of his films, like I mean, All the President's Men is like basically 50-50 him and Redford anyway, right?
And he's awesome.
He's incredible
awesome
in it.
that
But
movie.
it's almost like he needs someone to play off of. And it really depends on who he's playing off of is kind of where it goes.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to see him in The Revenant.
No, I would not.
Just climbing into a bear naked.
I feel like that's the second Revenant
I wouldn't want
reference
to.
you've made recently.
It might have been scouting a little bit. You wouldn't want to see him in The Martian. You wouldn't want to spend 2 hours with him on Mars by himself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be on Castaway with Dustin Hoffman. I wouldn't really want to be in a buddy cop movie with Dustin Hoffman.
No.
I think there are particular things that he's really good at, but I always feel like he's Dustin Hoffman in the movie.
Mhm.
Don't you? That like he's
Do
not
you
one
feel
of those
that way
people who
for
gets lost
Hackman,
in a
though?
role. Hackman, I feel like because we get horny hacks.
That's true.
We get Hoosiers hacks.
Angry
I feel like
hacks.
he has
Yeah.
different moves, but like the Kramer versus Kramer guy versus this guy, are they like that different?
They're all cerebral. I think they all have like a certain nervous energy. I think
cerebral, nervous, a little bit,
he's
little
also
bit
an
damaged.
incredibly unconventional looking guy. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
And
he's
tiny.
Yeah. So it's a lot of these 70s stars, with the exception of Redford and I guess Beatty, but even Beatty was kind of a weirdo, like have a really, really, really particular energy. It was a moment where guys who maybe in other times in Hollywood history would have been character actors or become the biggest movie stars in the world.
Well, I'll step on casting what ifs. One of the reasons he took the movie was because he heard Pacino wanted to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Pacino and Hoffman were on each other's corner in a bunch of different ways. You know,
Hoffman
but
was up for Michael, wasn't he?
I just feel like you had like the Redford side of like leading men guys over here and Newman and McQueen. And then you had kind of the Hoffman, Pacino, maybe De Niro a little bit, but the little artsier actor guys. And I think Hoffman and Pacino did a better job of stretching parts and kind of falling into characters and losing himself in characters than I think Hoffman did.
I feel like in some movie, to me at least, Pacino's cooler. Like he can be cool.
Right.
Hoffman rarely is.
But it all worked out for him because he became, he's definitely in the first sentence with all those guys.
Yeah.
But I just think I always felt like he was a little more limited than some of those other guys. Like, I don't think he could have been Tony Montana,
That would have been a really funny movie.
I don't know if I would have wanted to see him in Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have believed him as Serpico. I don't think he would have been fun as Vincent Hanna. There's
The
like an
closest he gets to
unintentional
that
comedy he doesn't
is
have.
Straight Time. Is Straight Time.
Which I think is a really interesting movie.
Yeah.
I wish he had made like 3 more Zags. I guess Lenny is a Zag, but that's a pretty that's a pretty dated
and
movie.
then Lenny is the movie
Lenny's not a fun hang.
in All That Jazz. That's what Bob Fosse's editing. So when he keeps looking at the stand-up footage, it's supposed to be Lenny.
Even if he'd been the Scheider part and All That Jazz, that would have been really fun. If he had been the lead in Jaws.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like he was very particular about the parts he took, but this is like a classic Dustin Hoffman part.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's perfect. He gets to be the hero. He's a little damaged.
Yeah,
he gets to stutter and
he does
to have
full
that
commit.
energy.
It's full send. He jogged, he lost 15 pounds. He probably like wore prosthetic fucked up teeth after the dental scene. Like he immerses himself in it.
Craig, you have Dustin Hoffman thoughts?
I think that I can't tell if the reasons why there's not a lot of Dustin Hoffmans now is just because we need people who fit into more traditional buckets, like, action star or comedy guy, or if it's more just that the movies he was in aren't as popular now and don't get made now, which is why people like him aren't as famous. I don't know which one.
It's kind of what we were talking about with Beatty. When we were like, how come Beatty doesn't, like, I don't feel like his name has the instant recognition or the associations that Redford does.
Because there is no Hoffman comp right now. Like, I don't know who I would pick, because the movies that Hoffman is starring in that made a lot of money back in the day, that made him famous, aren't making a lot of money today. They're
like
still
the
being
closest
made.
thing I can think of is Jesse Eisenberg, but he's not as intense as Hoffman by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like Kieran Culkin honestly has some Hoffman-y qualities, but like if you put the two of them together, maybe it's like Hoffman, but I don't know.
Well, by all accounts, pretty polarizing as a hang.
Yeah.
In some of these sets and some of the movies. And Goldman was not a fan.
He was not.
And Goldman was not shy about a couple of the actors that he didn't like.
Well, Hoffman was apparently a big part of why the ending of the movie got changed and they brought in Robert Towne.
Yeah, hold on. I still have a part for that. We got to hit Olivier really fast.
Okay.
I think, one of the great 20th century actors.
Yeah.
He clinched that one. He won an Oscar and 2 honorary Oscars. He won for Hamlet in 1949. He won 5 Primetime Emmys. He was knighted in 1947.
Yeah.
They said that the 2 greatest things you could have seen him in were Othello and Richard III. Goldman wrote if he could have seen 2 performances when he was younger, one of them would have been Othello.
There's that awesome anecdote in Adventures in the Screen Trade where Olivier keeps referencing the last time he's been in New York, and he references like these years. And Goldman's like, I realized that like he's calling it 51, but that's actually like when he was doing Glass Menagerie or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, holy shit.
It would be like Tom Brady listing off Super Bowl locations.
He's like, oh yeah, I've been in Indianapolis before.
I was in New Orleans. So anyway, by the time we hit the 70s, he thinks he's dying of cancer, takes the role to make more money for his family, to leave some stuff behind, and he's on pain meds all the time. Robert Evans had to get Lloyd's of London to insure him. And
one of the great insurers in the entire world.
Yeah, I had to talk to Lloyd himself. And he does the movie and then recovers, and then has this really weird IMDb stretch afterwards where he's in a bunch of TV movies. He's in A Bridge Too Far. He's in The Boys from Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
He's in A Little Romance, which is a really good movie. That was Diane Lane's first movie. He's in Dracula. He's in The Jazz Singer with Neil Diamond, which is one of the worst movies of the early 80s. Yeah. He's in Clash of the Titans in 81 as Zeus. So all of a sudden he's grabbing some paychecks near the end there. But I mean, the reverence that everyone talks about acting with him, I don't know who that is now. Where it's like, Olivier's in our movie. I'm psyched out.
It would be Daniel Day-Lewis probably.
Like 15 years from now.
Yeah, if DDL came back and was like, you know what, I'll make I'll just make like 5 more movies.
Yeah,
just
I'll play
like
Zell.
Pad out the checking account.
Oh my God, that's DDL. Devane, Goldman had this thing. I'm just going to read it. He's talked about they broke from a scene. I cornered Devane, who is bright and very articulate. I told him how wonderfully he had done and asked what it was like rehearsing with Laurence Olivier. It doesn't matter, Devane replied. I didn't know what in hell he was talking about and said so. This is rehearsal, Devane said. It's nothing. When the camera starts to roll, he'll give me a little of this, he'll give me a little of that, and you'll never know I'm in the movie. No one's going to be watching me. That's Olivier, man. That's how everyone thought about him, except for Hoffman, who's like,
let's fucking improvise, Larry.
Let's go. And
Hoffman's like Anthony Edwards. He's like, I don't care.
Well, so that Goldman tells this long story of him making Olivier rehearse Hoffman and making him stand, and it was clear to everyone in the set that Olivier was starting to really fade and improvise, and everyone thought it was like this power play. And then Hoffman said after the story wasn't true, and I'm going to go with my guy Goldman. Yeah. Because he doesn't make shit up. But this leads to, I'm going to put this category right here. The Steven Seagal shitting on himself award for most unbelievable anecdote from the actual film shoot.
It goes to Laurence Olivier.
So
his portrayal as Henry V.
So the story was there's a method acting thing, and Hoffman was up. This is the story. I'm not saying it's true. Hoffman said he was up 3 days to try to simulate what it would be like to be up for 3 days. And he's telling Olivier about this. And he was just rubbing Olivier the wrong way. And Olivier finally said about method acting, my dear boy, why don't you just try acting?
Yeah.
And everyone on the set was like, oh, it was like just this huge cut down. And this became a legendary Hollywood story.
It's gotten told in 13 different ways by everybody who was like a part of it, from Goldman to Hoffman, Schlesinger. Like everybody has got their version of how it happened.
Whether he was joking, whether he was serious.
Hoffman's version is he had been going to Studio 54 a lot, and that he had been partying a lot.
And the problem is Studio 54 wasn't open until the year after. So that's where his story falls apart. Because it opened in 1977, a year after the movie came out.
I got Johnny Cochran over here.
sorry, Dusty. He said on Inside the Actors Studio, the exchange was distorted and he had been up all night at a nightclub and Olivier was merely joking.
Yeah.
It's too famous of a story. I also don't think there's a lot of people like protecting Dustin Hoffman at this point because he seems a little prickly.
Yeah.
So, he also said Hoffman on the last day of shooting, Olivier visited him. He brought him a book, The Complete Works of William Shakespeare, and then proceeded to read scenes from several of the plays for Hoffman. And Hoffman said he was an absolute delight. They loved each other. And then he said Goldman made up this stuff or exaggerated it because he was mad because they changed the ending.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to go with Goldman.
Yeah. It's incredible. We don't really have enough of this anymore, where I think for like several decades, Hoffman and Goldman were essentially like trash talking each other whenever they would be asked to talk about Marathon Man.
Yeah.
And
simultaneously, he was also trash talking with Redford.
yes.
And then Redford came up with this whole alternate version of how All the President's Men allegedly happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the most famous movie book anyone's ever written.
Yeah.
His first one. And both of those guys really resented it.
Sure. And I mean, for Goldman, it's his novel, it's his screenplay, and then the star has his ending rewritten by like arguably the only screenwriter who's bigger than him, Robert Towne.
So who do you believe?
I like Goldman's version better. And I
don't think he would make it up.
Yeah.
He was like a very prideful guy.
Yeah.
He remembers everything.
And I think he's also pretty like honest about his shortcomings and the times he's fucked up.
Right. He's very self-deprecating, and he's the first one to criticize himself. So in this case, they changed the ending. We'll get in all the stuff.
I can't remember which
changed.
one in Adventures in the Screen Trade where he's like, I screwed, like, was it Right Stuff? Where he's just like, I just didn't do this well.
Yeah.
And then they completely like saved it. So he's honest about his failures.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he went into like huge writing slumps and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, listen, it was the 70s and these guys had huge egos and studios would kowtow to them and all of them took advantage of it. And that was it. But I'm Team Olivier and Team Goldman. So Olivier was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He did not win, but it's quite a category.
Mm-hmm.
Robards wins for All the President's Men. Ned Beatty Network. Burgess Meredith Rocky. Burt Young Rocky as Paulie Panino. And then Olivier. I'm good with Robards.
Stacked category.
Robards is amazing in that movie. You're good with that, right?
Yeah, Beatty. I think Beatty's like in third there behind Olivier.
And then Hoffman did not get nominated.
But he did for Presidents?
No.
Oh.
Nothing. $6.5 million budget made $28.2 million. And we should have mentioned this sooner. The kind of movie that just doesn't exist anymore.
No, this would be a prestige TV show. By far.
Or it would be like an Apple movie that they hired two huge stars for. It had a huge budget, but it was almost too big.
I mean, if you made this movie today,
nobody would.
I was just thinking about all the scenes that are outdoors in Paris and New York City. Like, I don't even know how much that would cost. Like, they shoot on the street in New York. There are scenes where it's like, they must have had different rules about extras back then because people are like looking at the camera, you know? So it's obviously they're just running around these cities handheld with Hoffman and Scheider.
Yeah, they just seem they're like in the jewelry district with 500 people.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
It's incredible.
Yeah, so it'd probably be, you're right, probably a scripted.
But it's also a perfect 70s movie in a lot of ways. It's certainly like the place where our interests converge. It is a political conspiracy thriller meets a revenge thriller. So it's about like all this like this pent up historical anxiety, the Jewish factor, the Nazis, but it's also about a guy who's been living inside of his brain for a long time who's forced to like step out and become a physical force and defend himself, which is basically what a lot of like, we talked about it with Death Wish, but a lot of the revenge movies, and Hoffman's made other movies like that with Straw Dogs and stuff.
Yeah, and I should have said this sooner too, but the paranoia piece of it, it's just so specific to this era and it's so good. It's like so in my wheelhouse. There's something about the vibes of these movies where it's just like, don't trust anyone ever.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is shadowy. At night, there's never people around. It's always dark. You just never know who's coming around a corner. There's always could be like some sort of henchman, even in a park.
Yeah.
Just some henchman could just mug you and you don't know what their intentions are.
Yeah,
and
they make the everyday seems surreal. Like you can shoot at the Library of Congress and All the President's Men, or you can shoot somebody's apartment in Harlem in Marathon Man and make it seem like this German expressionist kind of setting, or like the entire world is pushing down on these characters. It's honestly one of my favorite kinds of movies is these 70s thrillers.
Yeah, we've talked about it. It's a specific era. It's coming out of Watergate. It's coming out of Vietnam. It's coming out of the JFK assassination and the RFK assassination, the MLK assassination, and just people not knowing what to believe anymore and who were the good guys, who were the bad guys. And you could see a movie like this where you could feel like you could be Babe. You're just studying for some exam or something.
Your dissertation, yeah.
You're in your bathtub, and then all of a sudden somebody's breaking down your door and trying to get you.
Isn't it an interesting turnover where, because we did Star Wars, and I think the thrill of Star Wars is every kid who watches it can say to themselves, like, what if I was Luke Skywalker? Like, what if I saved the galaxy and I was this special person? But the thrill of these movies is like, what if every dark fantasy I had is true and everybody is out to get me?
Yeah.
And the government is following me. And I mean, it's just such a weird changeover in just one decade. They change over to like, no. Like, what if the galaxy, like, you could fix it all? Yeah.
And then it moves into the 80s and everybody's like, it'd be cool being rich. Here's a movie about that. Hey, here's another movie.
You know what? If an alien came, he might be friendly. Yeah.
All right. 6.5 million budget, 28.2 million makes it. And Ebert goes 3 stars. He said, if holes and plots bother you, Marathon Man will be maddening, but as well-crafted escapist entertainment as a diabolical thriller. The movie works with relentless skill. I'm going to give this, it's like a half fuck you, Raj.
Yeah.
I think he robbed it of a half star.
Should we start giving stars to Ebert's stars?
I was just about to say that. We have to review Ebert.
I think this is a 2-star review for a 3-star movie that we actually think is 4 stars.
Listen, if he wanted to say 3.5 because there's a couple plot holes, I would have been upset about it. But if this movie came out now, we would be like, oh my God.
I know.
They figured it out. Movies are back. And this was just like another movie in 1976 that was really good. But we were just cranking these out 10, 12 a year.
Yeah.
And even when they didn't work, it was like Black Sunday, which is a really cool movie that doesn't totally work, but it's still fun to watch.
Ebert says something earlier in his review that's paraphrasing, is just like, on a moment to moment, it only matters if a thriller is believable on a moment to moment basis. Like on any thriller, you can step back and be like, what the fuck is Vertigo about? Like, come on. And you can do that with this movie, but when that music comes in, the Michael Small music comes in, and the shadows and the weird moments and just like everybody kind of milling around and you don't know who's a spy and who's not, it's just like, who cares about the plot?
It's so funny when you read the reviews, especially Pauline Kael.
No, she hated this.
Yeah, everybody's expectations were so high for every movie. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Ebert's just like, didn't quite get there. Like Laurence Olivier playing an evil Nazi. He's like, I don't know. 3 stars. Solid. Let's take a break and then we'll do the categories. This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Life is full of decisions, big and small, and sometimes you make one you can really stand behind. I did this a few times in my life, especially in the mid-2010s after I left Grantland and ESPN. And I was like, you know what? I still think there's an idea for a company that could really work. And then The Ringer, and now we're 10 years later, we're still here. State Farm gets it. Making confident choices can make all the difference. That's why with the State Farm personal price plan, you can choose the right amount of coverage to help create an affordable price. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state. All right, most rewatchable scene. We got to start with the crazy car chase.
Old man
accident.
road rage. Yeah.
Old man road rage. This also wins the Ruffalo Hannah Rubinek Partridge Overacting Award for both drivers. Fuck you! Hey, fuck you!
I have a different winner for Ruffalo, but yeah.
It's for me, it wins it.
Okay.
It just goes on and on. It's very 70s. I think this would be a much more exciting car accident 50 years later for filming it, but very fun to watch.
The drive into the oil truck is a little like
It's a little Naked Gun-ish.
You
Yeah.
guys could have broke.
Yeah.
God.
It's a little Naked Gun-ish. The hotel fight scene.
Just all of the Doc stuff in Paris.
Roy Scheider.
Looking like a bag of leather, you know? Like,
What's your move when somebody comes around with you with the piano wire?
I mean, there's only one move.
You just got to
like
do
that.
this right
Yeah,
away, right?
You gotta.
Because if you fuck that up, you're just immediately
You're dead.
done.
Yeah, you're dead.
So you got to do this, but then what's the second move? Elbow?
I hope I never have to find out what my
Headbutt?
second. Yeah, I probably go headbutt.
So up,
that.
headbutt. Maybe like lifting the leg, try to kick in the balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the piano wire. I think the single most underrated movie.
And then I turn around and be like, stop. Did you hear Devers got traded?
to the Giants. It just happened. His war was a little low this year. I think piano wire is the single most terrifying thing.
Next to dental equipment, yeah.
Well, I'm saying like when the bad guys come in, they could do nunchucks. Like we've seen every sort of device.
It does seem
piano
like
wire because you're getting hurt even if you're stopping it. You're still getting like 8 stitches in your hand.
The way his blood
gotta
is
fucking hurt.
spraying out of his
my God.
Oh, God.
You're just slicing tendons.
I also love the old guy in the balcony across.
Yeah, the watcher guy.
Yeah.
So these are 2 scenes together, but I'm putting them together. They're both with Scheider. Doc drops in on Babe, and then Doc goes to lunch with Babe and Elsa.
Love the
that
lunch
combo. When he drops in on Hoffman, it becomes a play for like 4 minutes, and it's just crackling dialogue. It's just really good. 2 good actors sizing each other up, throwing some pitches at each other. It's really good stuff.
This also you just learn so much about them from Doc's reaction to Babe writing about their dad.
Yeah,
it's like I don't want to see this shit. You know, like it's just you learn everything you need to know about those guys.
And then with Elsa, he's like just rope-a-dopes her, and then he goes, "I've made all this up. There is no Verbia. There is no Mount Rosa.
There's no Claude Lesueur."
And she's like, "What?" Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Fun rope-a-dope trick. All right. Doc goes to see Zell and then Babe and gets stabbed to death and then shows up all bloody.
Yeah.
We get a good Hoffman scream. Here we go. Hoffman in the bathtub right into the torture scene. I think this is most rewatchable for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough watch.
Him in the bathtub is about as good as it gets for a what would I do if I was in this situation.
Try
First
to crawl
of all,
out the window.
everyone's fear of just being naked if you're about to be murdered. Just be like, I just got to get some pajamas on before you kill me. Hold on. Can you hold on 1 second with the piano wire? Just give me 1 minute here. Just got to get some pants on.
Yeah.
But then the way they're screwing the door frame, that's like, all right. And then the window's not big enough to get out of. And then we get right into the Olivier.
Is it safe? Yeah.
Is it safe?
Yes, it's safe. It's very safe. It's so safe you wouldn't believe it.
Is it safe?
I think that's another good scary movie device when somebody's just saying this incoherent sentence over and over again that you don't have an answer for.
So, Craig,
Yo,
had you heard of Is It Safe before you saw this movie?
no.
What did you think of this scene?
I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
I thought I agree. I think the bathtub scene is one of the scarier, most suspenseful scenes I've seen in a long time. And for how this movie's very quiet in a lot of moments, and it's terrifying. Also, I think nobody lays in baths anymore. You know what I mean? Nobody just ruminates.
Except me.
In
I'm the only one.
nobody
Are you a big bath
ruminates
guy?
in a bath
What are
anymore.
you talking about? I invented baths. They didn't have them before I started taking
19th
them.
century prostitutes
Yeah.
didn't invent
I know.
baths.
No, I invented them. Baths were out before I started taking them.
You still take baths?
I do.
Wow.
It's good for my lower back.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
No, I still read there.
Okay.
Used to read books. Now I bring the iPad in there and read that.
Read tweets.
Yeah, just going through Twitter. X. Did Elon do anything today?
Yeah.
Whoa, crazy one, Elon. Yeah, Is It Safe? I love scenes in movies where you're watching going, and Tarantino, I think very smartly, some of the stuff that he kind of
Some of his like torture stuff.
some of the stuff he borrowed from the 70s as homages or just things that he liked. And one of the things that he was really good at is I don't know where this scene is going, but I know I should be scared.
Yeah.
And I have a charismatic somebody who's up to
Michael
something.
Madsen dancing with the razor blade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's basically Marathon Man, right? And you're just like, what? So in this, it's like, why does he keep asking? He said, safe. What the fuck is this guy up to?
Yeah. It's almost like, I don't even know if like after the first 10 or 15 times I saw this movie, if I even thought about like what he was actually asking. Because, you know, it's basically like, am I going to get robbed at the bank?
Yeah.
But you're just like, this is such an existential, almost like unanswerable question.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where this is why you get Hoffman. It's like for every scene where you may be like, all right, Dustin, you're dialing it up a little bit, or like you don't have to run Larry in circles here. This is the scene where he is as scared as any normal person would be. And him being like, how can I possibly answer a question? I don't know what you're asking me. You know, like,
John Henry when he called me about the Devers trade, he wouldn't tell me what it was. He just kept asking if it was safe. And I was like, no, John Henry, don't trade our best hitter.
Fuck.
Well, the other torture scene after the rope-a-dope from William Devane, my guy.
Yeah, a lot of rope-a-dopes in this movie.
And Olivier says, a live, freshly cut nerve is infinitely more sensitive. And you're just like, just fucking, can you just shoot me? How about just kill me?
Yeah.
Please.
That's because the Mookie Betts tooth was dead. And the Xander tooth was dead. So they cut a new one with Rafi.
Oh, man. I got the Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer teeth in the way back. Hoffman said Olivier got inspiration for the torture scene from seeing a gardener prune roses shortly before the shooting. I don't know if I totally believe this. I'm not sure Olivier needed a lot of inspiration. But he said that Olivier realized that Zell was a craftsman, that he used tools with skill. This also has a great exchange with Devane and Olivier. I believe in my country, Devane says, and Olivier's like, so did we all.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, man.
Also,
evil Nazi with some good points.
Zell's accent being kind of like from nowhere.
Yeah.
Is so creepy.
Everything about him's so creepy.
He's not coming around being like, we have ways of making you talk, Dr. Jones. Like it's like he's been in South America for a long time. Like it's just kind of this flat accent.
Yeah, he does an amazing job of, you can feel the baggage of all the horrible things he's done and probably still has in him deep down, because that stuff never goes away. It's not like, hey, I'm not an evil guy anymore. Like at some point, you are who you are. It's in your DNA.
Yeah.
And you could feel it in the DNA still with him. And when he's torturing Babe, you can see there's 20% of him is like, oh man, I'm back.
Yeah.
This is great. Just fucking with people again. I really miss this. Zell in the Diamond District getting recognized. Zell!
Unreal, man.
The scene's just the best. The guy, at first he's in there with the two guys, and one of them's kind of like...
because he sees the tattoo.
I know you. Perhaps you do. I'm pretty good at faces myself.
I know this.
Christopher Hess, how do you do? Christopher Hess, how do you do? Wait, let me think. I think...
Yeah.
One of them's kind of side-eyeing him a little bit, and we get a little wrist knife, and it all leads to him opening the security deposit box and finding the diamonds, which is an awesome Olivier scene.
Yeah.
Just like I like the camera shot too of how just him opening it, and
it's great that this like incredibly evil person who you think has an ideology is just like a craven. He's just greed. You know, he just wants his money.
It's hard to identify with that theme now, 2025.
It sure is.
And then the showdown at the end would be the other one. What do you have for most rewatchable?
I guess Is It Safe? I mean, it's the most iconic scene from the film. I happen to really love everything with Doc in Paris. It's just so evocative and creepy.
It's like a whole other movie.
Chen and the stroller and the opera. I love all that stuff, but Is It Safe is the most rewatchable scene.
What's the most 1976 thing about this movie? What do you have?
I have OG Nazis still in the mix.
Yeah.
Walking and talking.
That's the answer. I will also have training for a marathon being a rogue thing. Like, what are you doing? trying to run a marathon. People are like,
Why the fuck would you do that? Yeah.
What's that? It's 26.2 miles. You
Yeah.
run.
Can you smoke while you do that?
You run every day?
Nobody's chasing you. You just run.
It's just, so you just run and then you finish running. And
Yeah.
Then what do you do?
Another low-key 76 thing is just New York City, 1976.
Yeah. The best movie location on
Yeah.
the planet. I also have a stealth gay subplot that can't really be addressed because of when they made the movie.
It's not super addressed in the novel. Like they just acknowledge
It's more
that
addressed in
Janie
the novel.
and Scylla
Yeah.
are together, and but like it doesn't, and it certainly impacts like Janeway's betrayal. But yeah, it's never explicit. This was actually
Pretty racy for 76.
and also
yeah.
like I think one of the first times I was like to my mom, I was like,
What's going
"Are
on
those
with those
guys lovers?"
Yeah.
And like I didn't. Yeah, I was like 10 or whatever, 12.
What's the most 76 thing about this movie? I also have diamonds being worth $15K a carat. Probably higher now.
Probably higher. Yeah,
Creepy mid 70s, everyone's up to something movies.
sure.
And then my winner, McCarthyism victims as a crucial plot device.
Yep.
You don't see this anymore.
No,
Be like if one of our relatives was a McCarthyism victim and it would just come up on the rewatchables every once in a while.
give it
Not
time. Maybe
happening.
we can come up with a new McCarthy.
Yeah, maybe
here.
there might be a new ism. What's age the best? I have a bunch. What do you have?
First of all, the location shooting in New York City and Paris, there's just no, this is like the ultimate, like you can't do New York and Toronto. You're like, you can't do
Right.
like this stuff. I love Doc's death when he's like, frankly, I don't give a fuck. And it's outside. They actually shot that in LA.
Yeah.
And so it's downtown LA. It's like some skyscraper down there. And I love the setting for that. And that's like the peak creepy 70s conspiracy scene with like the red, the fountain through the glass. What else do I have for what stage the best? It's always awesome to rewatch these conspiracy thrillers when you know the plot. So you can go back and see Elsa the first time. It's like, oh, so she was stalking him.
Yeah.
You know, like that stuff's great.
When a famous star is in a movie and dies way sooner than expected,
Yes.
aka they call this the Janet Leigh
Yeah.
from
Psycho.
But Scheider being in this movie, you just assume he's going to make it the whole way, and then he's dead 40 minutes in. Dentistry is torture. It's torture anyway, and this movie really embraced it, but it's a what's age the best.
Did this movie change your relationship to dentistry?
No, I disliked it
Yeah.
anyway. How about you?
It makes me think that like my physical reaction to dentistry is just like alarm and I want to fly away. Like I want to get away from it. And this movie gives it like a horror, you know?
Yeah.
But I just don't like people in my mouth like tapping at things and scraping at things. I'll do it. Got to do it.
Devane saving Babe, but not really, which I would call the fake out plot swerve.
Mhm.
I always like when this happens in the movies where it seems like the guy's being saved or the girl, but then they're just get pumping for information, and then you circle back, and it's like, wait, that's where we just let. This
It's
motherfucker.
such a distinctive street that Babe runs down to get away.
Yeah.
And you see the graffiti, and when Devane's car pulls past the graffiti again, you're like, no!
Yeah, no.
And then he's like, you killed them!
Yeah.
You killed them! It's also a really good exposition dump, because Devane explains the whole diamond courier thing
right
to Babe. And then it's like, oh, but it doesn't matter because Babe's going to get tortured.
Right.
again.
I have anyone opening a safety deposit box in a movie. I'm not watching. Doesn't matter what the movie is. It could be a freaking rom-com on Netflix.
Inside
watching
Man,
with my daughter.
Marathon
Yeah,
Man,
just always good. Running on a highway ramp and doing the jump to the lower highway ramp, which is also No Way Out. You got me every time.
Yeah.
Nobody ever sprains an ankle, breaks a tibia. Somehow it
The
always
cab
works.
always is
You
like,
never
cool,
get
I'll
hit by-
stop for this guy who looks like he's been tortured in his pajamas.
No car ever runs a person over. This is a good one for what's age the best. When someone's random non-fight training comes in handy
Marathoning.
in an action movie where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, the marathoning. Now it's going to pay off. I'm just going to outrun these fucking guys like I'm in the Boston Marathon.
They just did that with The Amateur.
Yeah. It's a good movie. I like The Amateur. I told my dad after I texted two people after I saw The Amateur, my dad and you. And I told my dad, I'm like, better than a 5 o'clocker. Might be like a 6:30, 7 o'clocker. But he watched it the next day. He was like, really good. Not a huge Rami Malek fan, but I really liked it. Anyway, a couple more. Marathon Man used the Steadicam.
Uh-huh.
It was the third movie they used it. Bound for Glory and Rocky also used it, but it was the first movie that came out that used it.
Okay.
So we had that with
this was
with
released
Hoffman.
before.
Yeah. And then Goldman had a whole thing about how Hoffman objected to having the flashlight next to him and when his brother shows up.
Mhm.
And Schlesinger convinced him. And Goldman said it was because Hoffman didn't want to seem like he was chicken.
Right.
And this was a big Goldman thing in all his writings about how stars want to be perceived, which is so interesting.
Yeah.
Like they want to be the heroes.
And
they want to
even
win
though
the fights.
Babe is getting beaten on and through this entire movie, he's like, no, I don't want him to be a pussy when he's in his apartment.
Yeah. And meanwhile, it feels like he's half the movie. He feels like a puss. Last one. William Devane's 1976 and 1977 2-year stretch. He's in Family Plot, Hitchcock's last movie.
Mhm.
He's in Marathon Man. Bad News Bears 2, Breaking Training. One of the great performances is Kelly Leak's dad.
Yeah.
One of the great sports dad coach performances. Craig, check it out. And then Rolling Thunder, your movie.
I love
Just
Rolling
bangs
Thunder.
those 4 out in a row.
It's incredible. I love Devane.
You know, so I did some research because I was trying to figure out why he wasn't more popular.
Big stage guy.
Yeah, but also like he was JFK in the Missiles of October TV movie. That was a huge movie with him and Martin Sheen on TV, like 74. And he got kind of typecast as like the JFK guy.
Oh, interesting.
Was trying to break out of it. I always thought he was really good. He ended up on like Knots Landing. I also did a lot of Olivier research. I forgot to mention about his, he was married 3 times.
Joan Plowright at the end, right?
Right. But he was married to the Gone with the Wind lady.
Vivian Leigh.
He got divorced because he started having an affair with her.
Oh.
And then they ended up together and ended up doing a whole bunch of plays together. But then, you know, occasionally she just would hook up with another guy that she was in a movie with. And then he might do the same thing with an actress, but then they would get back together.
Yeah.
And then she would go off again and have an affair with somebody else. And it's just the way the 30s and 40s and 50s moved where people were like, yeah, I couldn't resist. Had to go fuck him in my trailer. Sorry. And I don't know. I don't know if it works that way
It's
anymore.
funny to go back and watch Mad Men and just be like, how soon would the wife just be like, you're fucking out
Right.
and I'm taking half of your money to Don Draper.
Yeah, it just wasn't like that back then. Yeah, so anyway, our guy Bill Devane, great job by him. What'd you have for Big Kahuna Burger Award, best use of food drink?
I got 3 things.
Okay.
1, the clove oil extract that they rub on the tooth.
Great.
2, truffles en croûte, which is what Doc tells Elsa to get at the restaurant. But honestly, this movie gets the reverse kahuna. You don't want to eat after seeing this movie.
Oh, because you have a exposed root in your tooth?
Yeah.
Great shot, Gordo.
So many.
I really like the shot of him opening the security deposit box.
Uh-huh.
I also like they have in the water factory, or whatever the fuck that is, that wide shot of them.
Waterworks, yeah.
There's a wide shot of them kind of circling each other that I thought was really good, but there's a lot of good stuff in this.
So I have anything from Doc's murder, the Red Steps, the fountain, that stuff. Conrad Hall shot this. He's one of my favorite cinematographers. Absolutely amazing. I love the shot when Doc is in Paris and he walks out onto his balcony in Paris and the camera goes through another window and extends out, and then the Eiffel Tower's there. I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Conrad's cooking.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my favorite might be, just for absolute total creep, is when Doc is coming out of the opera and the soccer ball rolls up to him. And he's just like, and the woman is like, his partner has disappeared. And then just a soccer ball comes up. Then he's like, fuck.
That's like a classic 1976 scene.
That's
it
almost
doesn't
like a
even
horror
pay
movie
off.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, why is this here? Now it'd be The Conjuring. Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness Award for Best Needle Drop. I think it's the opera with Olivier.
Yeah. Although the score is just
Getting
incredible.
dressed. Yeah. I like seeing the German newspapers. Good like exposition in that scene. It was like, all right, this guy's creepy. Chest Rockwell Brocklanders Award, Best Character Name. Dr. Christian Zell.
It's up there. His flunkies being named Carl and Earhart were pretty good though.
Yeah. We'll take a break and then you got a flex category. All right, CR's choice, flex category. What do you got?
When would I have died?
I was wondering if you're going to do this.
Probably in the bathtub. Probably like maybe I can just drown myself. Like I just don't want to experience this anymore.
I think I die in the bathroom as well.
Yeah.
Because you can't get out the window.
Maybe cut your wrists with like a razor or something like that. I know it's morbid, but like if you knew on the other side is it safe? You're
but he doesn't know that yet.
Out. No. I would also just have a heart attack when the dental tools got unrevealed.
Yeah, dental tools and a German accent in 1977. Can you just jab that in my temple? I have no answers. Just kill me right here. Right here.
No, I don't know if it's safe.
Just right here.
Honestly, I'm never gonna.
Let me make an X.
I'm never gonna love again after this. So you can just take me out.
Butch's girlfriend award weak link of the film. Unfortunately for this one, it's the girlfriend.
So you don't like Elsa?
I just don't. It's the weakest part of the film that she's working for Zell the whole time.
So
she's very pleasant. I don't think she's kind of up to stuff enough.
Yeah.
And then I have no idea why we go to the farmhouse. It's such a weird part of the movie. I just don't get it.
In the book, you find out Elsa's working for Zell after the first meeting in the library. So it's an interesting difference between the novel and the screenplay, where in the novel, you're like the whole time, you're like, Elsa's bad, Elsa's bad. When Doc figures it out at lunch, you're like, oh, interesting. But in the movie, it kind of comes out of nowhere when it's like, not only like, yeah, I've like been working for Zell this whole time. I think she's good, especially to be like a German who could pass for Swiss, speak some French, that kind of thing.
She's pretty. I don't know what a Swiss accent sounds like, but she sounds German the whole time.
Yeah.
I have no idea why we go to the farmhouse. I just don't understand it.
I think he's supposed to be basically incapacitated. In the book, it's like she shows up because he's like, go get a car and meet me at this drugstore. And she's like, I got the car, and the guy whose car it is, this neighbor of mine, has a house upstate. We'll go there.
I get it.
Yeah.
It just feels like they wanted to get out of New York City for a couple scenes.
Yeah.
But I just would have not done that at all, and I would have spent more time with Roy Scheider, because we could talk about, this is in What Stage the Worst, I'll just do it now, but an 8.5-minute sequence was shot of Doc fighting with some guys who killed his spy colleague. That's
LAX,
a huge part
right?
of the book. And Goldman thought it got cut because of the violence, because they cut down the is it safe scene too,
and the Scheider death,
and the Scheider death, like, because he basically gets disemboweled when he gets. So they did a lot of stuff based on this one preview screening they had where everybody thought it was too violent, and Goldman said, "We've Roy Scheider. He's coming off Jaws. This was a big part of the reason why he took this role." And we cut that scene, but now we're adding 8 minutes of the farmhouse for no reason at all. And the whole thing is, I'd say it's my one thing that every time I watch this movie, I'm like, God damn it. And then he could just get away, but he's like, come on in, 3 evil guys, and let's talk this out. It's like, I just don't understand any of it.
I would also say that, especially on repeat viewings, I don't love the flashbacks to his childhood. There's nothing in there other than Babe being there when his dad kills himself that I didn't know from the movie itself, and that you can't intuit from the movie itself. And the movie doesn't go into depth about so many things like Janeway and Doc's relationship and all this other stuff, but like we get like 5 cutaways to childhood.
It feels like they were really trying to stay faithful to the book.
Yeah, but that's not really even in the book. I mean, they talk about the dad in the book, but it's not like he's like always thinking. I don't know. I thought it was like, it's not something that worked for me on this run through.
More Would Stage the Worst. Stalking a girl home for the first date.
76.
Yeah. It drives me absolutely fucking bonkers that Babe doesn't keep the diamonds and the money. I just hate that in every movie where somebody's like, you know what, morally, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, just fucking take the diamonds.
Yeah.
What are you doing? There's just cash, just grab it. What are you doing? You're too good to put some cash in your pocket?
Yeah.
Just get this
You
guy
think your
drilled
apartment is looking good right now?
Yeah, by the way, you need some dental work. Maybe the cash can go toward,
and you let Melendez take your television.
Right.
So
you have no apartment. Your family's dead. Maybe take the diamonds.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then What Stage the Worst, just the concept of Nazi criminals in a movie, because in 2025, they wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So it's Stage the Worst
Unless
just
it's a
because
period
it's
piece,
aged. Yeah. What else do you have?
The way Babe's apartment must have smelled, because he's coming back from long distance running training,
Smells like a hockey locker room.
wearing
Yeah.
full sweatsuit of like old school Russell athletic sweats.
Yeah.
Basically wearing old Adidas running shoes. Then he strips down, sweating his balls off, and he starts reading history textbooks.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Not a lot of natural light coming in there.
Probably some fungus. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
The CR thinks Luke Wilson could have been Harrison Ford. Hottest take a word.
We kind of alluded to this earlier. I would rather have Roy Scheider's 1970s than Dustin Hoffman's 1970s. Scheider's highlights for the 70s are Clute, French Connection, 7-Ups, Jaws, Marathon Man, Sorcerer, Jaws 2, all that jazz.
Listen, I'm on Scheider Island. I've been there the whole time.
Hoffman goes Little
He
Big Man,
crushes it.
Papillon, Lenny, All the President's Men, Straight Time, Kramer vs. Kramer. I'll take Scheider.
I would take him over Hackman. He
Yeah.
just gets. I remember asking Goldman about this once because he loved Scheider. We might have even talked about this on one of the other rewatchables. And
Maybe
I
on
was
Jaws?
like, what was he missing? And he's like, I don't know. You know, he didn't age that great by the time we get to the 80s.
Yeah,
and
when he's in 2010, he's looking pretty
yeah,
old.
my guess is there were a lot of cigarettes,
Mhm.
so I don't think he aged in a classic way. But I always thought he was amazing. I think he's amazing in Jaws. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like he's like William Holden, where you're like, are you 39 or 61?
Right? Yeah, I don't. How old is he in this movie?
I have no
I
idea.
have no idea.
Yeah.
My hottest take. It's a two-parter. I think if you're making this in 1976, if we could do it over again, it's a better Harrison Ford part. He's young. He hasn't been in Star Wars yet. I think he's been in American Graffiti. He's got the size from the book.
Mhm.
I would have believed him as a runner. Nobody's better than Harrison Ford if people are coming after him. Little more handsome. I could believe the Elsa thing more. I think it's a better movie.
Yeah, so this is pre-Raiders, so you wouldn't associate him with being like, oh, this guy's going to kick Zell's ass.
Yeah.
It's not like that. You're right.
He
It's a
would be
great
tall,
call.
But in 1984, this is an epic Tom Cruise
Oh, it's
part.
TC all the way.
This is TC fucking, he gets to run.
He gets to pretend he knows a lot about history.
He gets to torture. Yeah, he gets to seduce a hot foreign lady. He gets to run again. He gets to run a third time. He gets to freak out.
Yeah.
He probably watched Marathon Man like, fuck.
I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't remake it now. Yeah.
It's the most cruisiest part that's not a cruise movie. Casting what ifs. So when Olivier had health problems, they had Richard Widmark in the bullpen.
Which I kind of like.
Yeah, warming up. And then this is a tough one for both of us. Schlesinger wanted Charlotte Rampling for Elsa. Couldn't get her. Settled on Martha Keller. Martha Keller? Mart Keller?
Yeah, according to Robert Evans. The new international ingenue, Mart Keller. You're going to love it.
Charlotte Rampling in this movie.
It would have been illegal. Also, how many times can Charlotte Rampling double cross our guys? You know, if she did this in Marathon and then did The Verdict?
Now I'm happy to go to the upstate New York for 8 minutes with Charlotte.
Yeah.
Let's go check out that house. Anywhere else we want to go?
Want
Want to
a
go apple
cigarette?
picking?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely smoking. I could totally believe the double cross in a completely different way. I don't know.
The other person I saw in my research was Julie Christie, which I suppose I'd bring up just because in Super 70s we are.
Yeah, the double cross for her, I'm not buying as much.
Yeah.
I have that in Recasting Couch Director City too. Charlotte Rampling is also.
Yeah.
Just like no question. Best that guy. Well, we have a runner-up. Carlos Mendez from the Miami Vice Calderon's Revenge episode.
He plays Melendez.
When
right?
Tubbs hits the glass at the beginning of the part 2.
Yeah.
And Philip Michael Thomas is like, come on, Mendez! You gotta talk! Sucker! He's doing that whole thing. He's in this movie. He's the guy that Hoffman asked to rob his place.
It's creepy. It's creep.
But that's not the winner.
No.
Because our winner is, of course, Al Neary from The Godfather.
Richard Bright's in this movie.
Richard Bright.
Hands down.
So I ended up, for some reason, I'd never gone to his IMDb before and didn't realize he was the dad in Beautiful Girls.
No.
He was Timothy Hutton's dad in Beautiful Girls.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's Al Neary from The Godfather.
Oh God, I guess I have to go back and watch Beautiful Girls again.
He was the dad of Timothy Hutton and David Arquette. I gotta go take a shit. Those are his three biggest parts. Richard Brake. So he plays Al Neary in 1 and 2, by the way.
And he can play Italian American heavy and German heavy.
Nobody
What
ever
range?
Nobody ever did more with a blank face.
Yeah, he's got like 2 lines across 3 movies there. Yeah.
When Michael looks at him at Mom's funeral, after he's like pretending he's getting back together with Fredo, and he just kind of looks at Al, and I was like,
all right, time to go fishing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I got you. Don't worry. Got it. Dion Waiter's a word. Scheider?
I think he's in too much. I have Devane in there, but I'm gonna go with Lada Palfi Andor as Zell.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's a good one.
Device Angler.
Yeah, that's a good one. Craig's choice, flex category for Craig. What do you got, Craig?
My hot take is that Babe was just kind of dumb. He was mugged by 2 guys in 3-piece suits and fedoras and just didn't think that was weird.
Yeah, true.
He was
That
like,
should
"Oh,
be
I
a
got
red
mugged,"
flag.
and they're like, "Oh, like what did he look like?" And they're like, "Oh, they like 2 hoodlums." And he's like, "No, they were 2 50-year-old men in suits." And he were like, "Oh, that feels kind of weird."
Yeah.
He also, his brother who was murdered, and then he was tortured by a German man named Zell, and his brother was like, "Hey, I just outed your girlfriend for being a closeted German."
Yeah.
Didn't think anything of that, just kind of kept plowing right forward with her and still thought she was totally innocent up until they got to the house. And then I thought it was a weak move that he just couldn't pull the trigger on Zell at the end. What are we doing? He couldn't shoot him?
In the book, he does.
Fucking guns him down.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand the character choice of him not shooting
It's
Zell.
a weird. I would say there's 2 things that happen.
Because he shoots people right before it up in upstate New
In
York.
the book, he shoots Elsa too, right? Like he
does he?
guns down Elsa. It's much more Death Wish at the end of the book.
Because he shoots Devane in the house. And
Yeah.
then 20 minutes later, he can't shoot Zell?
It's absurd.
I thought it was very bizarre.
The ending was rewritten by Robert Town, as CR said, because Hoffman apparently didn't like it. Goldman thought it was a piece of shit. It drove him crazy. He couldn't believe it. In the novel, Babe leads Zell to Central Park, shoots him multiple times while lecturing him, kills him, throws the diamonds away, and is led away by the police.
Yeah, I don't know the lead up with Babe. I mean, he's clearly capable and willing to kill.
Well, Goldman's up in the sky thanking us that we have Craig.
I can't
here.
believe Tibbs got fired.
He doesn't know what else Tibbs had to do. They made the Eastern Finals.
Wait, can I add one more question?
Yeah.
So a lot of the movies in the 70s, 80s, but I think it starts to get better in the 80s. I personally, at home, have trouble hearing what the people are saying. Do you have trouble, like just the sound mixing?
Oh, well,
It's
I think
tough.
that they do a lot of stuff, especially in these 70s movies where they've ADR'd stuff where it's like, so you're seeing something that you should not be able to, like it'll be a character across the street in a diner through a window and you can hear it as if they're whispering in your ear.
Okay.
So it's just a style. Altman did this a lot with like a lot of his layering of sound. That is just unconventional for our modern like cinematic appetite.
I am very anti closed captioning. I don't support it, but I had a really hard time just understanding, and also the accents. I had like genuinely a very difficult time understanding what they were saying, so I had to turn them on. And I was just wondering if that was the case, like in the theaters in the 70s, if it was muddled because sound mixing wasn't as good, or if that's the way it's translated to our TVs now.
Yeah, I would say sound mixing is too good now.
Yeah.
The sound is translated, so it's probably picking up stuff from the print that wasn't even intended to really be heard.
And I just think that they would do stuff with sound that was just
Different.
way different.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You
like
guys
they'll
close-
do things where you're like, oh, like visually, I'm so far away from this person.
Yeah.
It almost feels weird that I can hear them mumbling to someone next to them.
Yeah, because there's some under the breath conversations in really pivotal moments, and I'm like, I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch movies and TV with closed captioning?
I try not to. I find it's really distracting.
Yeah,
I
always
just
end
and
up
sometimes
just
the
reading
line
it.
comes up, the words come up before the person says
Yeah.
it.
I do. I had to use some closed captioning for Seagal when he was trying to do his Italian accent in Out for Justice. That was the last time I used it. Half-assed internet research. So in the novel, we said Janeway and Doc are lovers. So Doc's in Paris and he calls Janeway on the phone. He says, Janie, I miss you. Get your ass over here. And that's kind of the only way they allude to it. It's definitely more subtle in the book. It's a weird one though. I didn't even notice that in the movie until I reread it in the book a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it was like,
well, because in the beginning you're like, oh, is he talking to a woman named Janie? You know, like is he got a girlfriend somewhere?
So the marathon runner shown in flashbacks is Adebe Bikila, who won the 1960 Olympic marathon and ran barefoot for Ethiopia.
Yeah.
No shoes. The barefoot athletes have really gone out the window in the last 20 years. We had barefoot kickers all the way through like the 90s.
Go
Zola
barefoot?
Bud. Yeah. We both had Tony Franklin on our team as field goal kicker. Just such a weird era that people are like, you know what? I'm better off without the sneaker. Playing in the NFL.
Pure feel. I know.
Like Craig, that has to be top 5 weirdest things for you about sports in the 80s.
What do you mean there were barefoot kickers in the
They're like literally barefoot
yeah, they
field goal
wouldn't wear
kickers.
a soccer cleat.
In what year are we talking about?
We're talking like 80s.
Yeah.
The Patriots had Tony Franklin in the Super Bowl season or around that
was
era.
out there with just no shoes or socks, just barefoot?
No, they'd have the weirdest thing is they'd have the left shoe in the sneaker,
Yeah,
and then the barefoot on the right.
Because the plant foot you want with the shoe, for the spikes.
But then you get pure feel. I get it on the inside of the
What's
foot.
funny is you go back and you look at all the field goal stats, and people are like 54%.
Yeah, they're like,
And they're like, I need the feel of this. It's like
career
maybe you
long
needed
is 36
Yeah.
yards.
Maybe you needed sneakers. Sneakers might help.
broken toes all
Yeah.
left and right.
Goldman wrote a screenplay called Brothers, and I guess kind of a sequel, but not considered one of his better books.
a sequel to this?
Yeah, it's called Brothers.
Is it a prequel about Babe and Doc, or what is it?
It's I don't really know.
Unproduced?
I know that it's not well liked.
Okay.
Yeah. Apex Mountain, Hoffman. I think it's Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh, I think it's this year. I think it's Marathon and 70. It's 76. It's Marathon Man and All the President's Men in 1 year.
I think it's Kramer versus Kramer.
Okay.
We'll agree to disagree. Dentistry?
Yeah. This and
Dentistry is a movie device.
Little Shop of Horrors in this. Yeah.
Scheider.
It's around it. I mean, I would say Jaws.
Jaws is.
Yeah.
Devane, it's definitely Bad News Bears breaking training, figuring out how to bat Kelly Leak 5 times in 3 innings in the Astrodome. Still don't know how he did it. We're definitely doing that on the Rewatchables at some point. Kelly Leak just Craig, you haven't seen that one, right?
No.
Oh man, you're gonna love it. A lot of lineup chicanery in the big game. Torture scenes. I think this might be the most famous one.
If it's not, it's up there. It's top 3.
What do you think? What's the most famous torture scene for your generation?
Oh,
Craig?
wow. I would say the first thing that comes to mind.
This is the end?
Casino Royale, like getting hit in the balls, the thing that swings under the
Casino
chair.
Royale's a good one.
That one's really
That's
bad.
a really good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Pulp.
Pulp is bad.
Oh, yeah.
Reservoir Dogs.
And Reservoir Dogs of the Year.
Yeah, we
Oh,
probably
yeah.
should have picked. Maybe we should have said non-Tarantino torture scenes. Olivier, no way. Goldman's in the running because he has this and All the President's Men
Same
in
here.
76. He wins the Oscar. He has a book thing. His price is now, he's the biggest price of any screenwriter.
Yeah.
I think this might be it. Mark Keller.
I think so. She's in Black Sunday, right?
Black Sunday, Bobby Deerfield, some movie called Fedora, and then that was it for her.
She was a big star.
Schlesinger?
Midnight Cowboy, because it won the Oscar.
I'm walking here. Jewish revenge movies.
Bastards.
Yeah, it's Bastards.
Yeah.
It's close though. Evil Nazi characters.
It's
This
it's
or-
the guy
or
who
Waltz.
melts in Raiders, and it's Christoph Waltz.
We also have the good Nazi in Victory. He just
true.
wanted some good soccer.
That's true.
Yeah, just needed a break. Break from the horrible war. Just wanted a good
We're
game.
not so different, you and I. Yeah.
But you guys see the bicycle kick?
Yeah.
I know we're all Nazis, but you have to appreciate the artistry of that. And then Diamond District scenes in a movie. It's this or Uncut Gems.
I think it's this.
I think it's this.
Yeah.
Well, this is the easiest Cruise or Hanks we've ever had.
It's Cruise on a walk.
This is
Or
such
in
a Cruise
run.
part.
Yeah.
Hanks maybe is the Scheider part, but maybe,
Yeah.
but not as good as Cruise. Spielberg or Scorsese?
This is a hard one because Scorsese is the consummate New York director, but
Yeah.
nobody does Jewish revenge like Spielberg.
Has to be Spielberg. Who does Philip Seymour Hoffman play?
Janeway. The Devane character.
I had that as well. Picking nits. Why did William Devane tell Babe the entire Zell story as he's just driving around so they'll end up at the same spot? That's a classic. The screenwriter wants
Oh, I think it
the
makes sense.
information out there.
It's both. It's an exposition dump that does make sense. He's basically doing it's an extended version of like cutting into someone and then giving them clove oil.
He's like luring him into a
He's
false
been
sense of security.
tortured, and now he's like, I'm bringing you
Yeah.
in. I'm telling you what your brother did. Now you're going to tell me
Now you
what he
open up.
said to you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I go to Craig. I'm like, so we're teaming up with Portnoy.
Anyway, has he reached out to you?
Why did Zell go to the Diamond District first? To
Why
find out
didn't
about the
he?
carrot prices, whatever he was doing before.
Yeah, he
went
was
to the
going to get
deposit.
like a market setting price on a carrot.
He's no henchmen left at that point.
Well,
There aren't any-
They've gone up to the lake house. They've gone up to the country.
Nobody else on
I
Nazi
think
slack.
when you're one of the most
Yo,
wanted,
need somebody to go to the district.
I think when you've got yourself on like every wanted list in the Western world, like your circle's pretty tight.
Do you think he disguised himself enough?
No.
Like he just shaved the top of his head. He could have done a little more, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe grow some facial hair, change the glasses, put a hat on.
maybe put on a Thurman Munson jersey.
Yeah, dressed like a Yankee fan. That'd be funny. He's wearing a Yankee hat with a Munson jersey and like blue jeans.
You can't get a load of these fucking guys.
Yeah, we got to sign Reggie Jackson. And then why did we have the drive to upstate New York, which we already talked about? Any other nitpicks for you?
You got them all except for when Dustin Hoffman is running to the drugstore to meet Mart. In the background, the movie Marquis is playing Jaws, which breaks the Roy Scheider fantasy reality.
Yeah, we
thing.
crossed the streams.
Yeah.
I have one more. I admittedly don't know quite enough about jogging. I've never been a jogger. Hoffman's jogging to me seemed a little lurchy, and I didn't feel like he had. I know they said he worked on it every day. He ran 4 miles,
But that's crucial. He's running 4 miles, not a marathon. And I feel like he was a little bit like when the guy who passes him at the reservoir runs by him and then he's like speeding up. It's kind of like, all right, but you're running a marathon. You would have to be like really pacing yourself here.
Did you like his stride though?
I mean, it's the 70s. I've crushed a lot of Prefontaine tapes. So I don't know what it really looks like.
Somebody who's running that much, and this is like my thing is I run every day.
Yeah.
I just want them. I want more efficient. Those guys and ladies, they glide. when
Yeah,
they
he's
run.
running like the way his
He's
character
like,
is.
like he's running like I don't know. It just didn't totally work for me. Sequel, prequel, Prestige TV, all black cast or untouchable. I know we said Prestige TV. Can I test drive a Zell prequel?
You're going to test drive by casting a fishing hook?
Just a Zell prequel?
Uh-huh.
Not
a lot of laughs in that one.
No, but like him trying to get to South America.
Getting
and-
out of Germany.
Yeah.
So
Late
Zell
40s?
is the protagonist, or are we with someone hunting Zell who's trying to
No,
catch
we're
him?
hunting Zell.
Okay.
We're trying to
I signed up
find
for
Zell
that.
before he gets to Argentina.
Yes. I think
You're
that's...
not watching that.
Sure.
Okay. Is this movie better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Doris Burke, Sam Jackson, Nell, Baron Mayo, Barney Cousins, Tony Romo, Harley Mays, Chris Collinsworth, Daniel Plainview, Longlegs, or Wilford Brimley in The Firm?
I think it's got to be... I said, is it safe? English, motherfucker, do you speak it? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you. Now, is it safe?
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think it would be too problematic for Wayne to chime in here. Goddamn, Christian.
It's so funny you did Sam because I was going to do Stephen A. Christian Zell's asking me if it's safe. He's asking me because I'm going to be here a long time after Christian Zell. A long time.
Is Christian Zell an underachiever?
Christian Zell, maybe you should worry about getting those diamonds before asking me if it's safe. Okay?
But then we find out Stephen A was playing solitaire while Marathon Man was on. I can't wait till the expose about you comes out, where it's just like you're supposed to be watching, having Kuwait, but you're actually playing. You're doing fantasy league stuff the entire time.
So do we know when he was playing solitaire?
Apparently, it was during a meaningful moment in the game. But I have not been tracking this story very closely. I'm sorry.
I'm not there to judge. I'm there studying the OKC body language, like I'm like a detective looking at a police lineup. I'm just watching everybody. Chet looks unhappy. What's going on there? Just one Oscar. Who gets it?
Conrad Hall.
Oh,
so this is the
repping for your guy.
cinematographer. Love this guy. Shot Butch Cassidy, Cool Hand Luke, In Cold Blood, Marathon Man, Road to Perdition, and American Beauty. So his career stretches across from the 50s to the 90s. And I just think that this is one of the most extraordinary portraits of New York City. I mean, it's so incredible what he does.
I was going to go with Olivier, but you made a good case. Probably unanswerable questions. What kind of dental work was Babe looking at next 6 months there? And what's the conversation like with the dentist?
Well, first of all, Babe's got to go under general anesthesia to get dental work done. Like, there's no way he's conscious at all for it, right?
I mean, he has an exposed nerve for the last hour of this movie.
Yeah.
Got to get that fixed, I would say, pretty soon. The movie never really goes into how he eats with the fucked up tooth.
This would be a good sequel. Babe's Dental Dream.
What is he? He go in, like the dental assistant comes in. He's like, hey, babe, how are you? I'm Jenny.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? So what are you in for today? So there's this evil Nazi.
Maybe you heard of him, the Vice Angle?
Yeah, Zell.
Yeah.
The Angel of Death. And he was trying to get me to tell him information, and he drilled a hole, and now I have an exposed nerve in my tooth. There's tooth right here, that one that's black.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to try to get that fixed. I don't know. Probably a fake tooth.
Yeah.
Probably pulling that.
I would need heroin the next time I went to a dentist office.
Other unanswerables? Anything?
The only one I had was, did this movie invent the trend of British actors playing supervillains in Hollywood movies?
Oh.
So Hopkins doing Lecter, Alan Rickman and Die Hard. Like, is there... I could probably answer this question, but I didn't see any earlier evidence of it.
It's a good one. I was trying to think unanswerable. Is Babe's apartment ever rented again? There's a chalk outline in the living room. The bathroom's been demolished.
70s
It
New York
smells like a hockey locker room.
When I first moved to New York in 2000, there was a hole in my floor that the landlord was like, I'll get to that. And it was like as big as this table. He was like,
Really?
You're just going to want to walk around that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, how deep was the hole?
Well, it was deep. And it was not like there was something underneath where it wasn't going down into the next apartment, but he was like, I'm going to fix that before you move in, and didn't.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then it was too late. I was living there.
This would be a good podcast. My first New York City apartment.
Oh, I got a great one. Yeah.
Do you?
Oh yeah, my New York apartment was fucking terrible. We used you couldn't even get to the toilet without, like, you had to like turn sideways and shimmy past the shower because the walkway was so narrow.
Oh yeah.
It was like 1 foot wide, and then our whole ceiling was completely sunken in. There was like all this leakage, and the ceiling looked like concaved.
Where was it?
It was in Prospect, Crown Heights-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
New York's hilarious because everybody who lives there, they're always like, yeah, the first apartment I lived in, we just had an open sewage pipe that just spewed sewage. It was great. So we lived there for a year.
I met my wife there.
Yeah, it's great. You just kind of worked around it. What piece of memorabilia would you want or not want from this movie? I'm going to go with the rarely seen not want. The drill.
I mean,
from Zell. That's just a weird thing to have. You're like, hey, come into my library. I have the drill from Marathon Man.
I guess it would be pretty antisocial, but the one piece of memorabilia I did want was the wrist knife.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Pretty cool party trick. But I would not want any of Babe's running clothes.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Is there like historical accuracy to that? His like concealed knife thing, or is that kind of just like a movie trope?
I feel like the
people do
60s
that?
and 70s were full of knives in cool places.
Okay.
So it was a big metal bracelet
Mhm.
that was immediately conspicuous. You'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" And then he had some button that just a knife shot
Well,
out
it's
of
also like it's so incredible in the 70s where they're like, thank you for flying from Paraguay to America or Uruguay to America.
Yeah.
Get your own bags. We're good. There's a
Right.
strike.
it. Yeah, true.
And your Nazi henchman can meet you at the gate.
That would have been that would have been good for unanswerable questions. Was there actually a baggage strike
Well, also would TSA
in
have caught Zell?
1976? Yeah, true. Coach Finstock award, best life lesson. Don't trust the Nazis.
At the end of it, if you kill the Nazi dentist, take his diamonds. You earned it.
Yeah, take the diamonds.
Yeah.
It's okay. Put them in your pocket. Best double feature choice. You could go Boys from Brazil and go Olivier
That's
on
good.
the other side.
I like that.
Uncut Gems if you want to go Diamond District again.
Munich.
Munich's a good one.
Interesting
Munich,
element to this.
Would that be a weird rewatchables choice?
Munich and Lincoln are the two late period Spielberg ones that I was like, I really want to do these.
I didn't like Munich at all when I first saw it. And about 10 years ago, it kind of broke me.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, Munich.
Do you ever watch Lincoln?
You really want to do this.
Do
you want me to do this summer?
Daniel Day. Yeah.
If the Celtics don't trade Jaylen Brown before July 1st, I'll watch Lincoln again. I'm really worried they're going to trade Jaylen Brown. I love that guy.
You're in such a tender place.
I really am. I don't want them to trade anybody.
Yeah.
Why can't they make the Eastern Finals next year without Tatum?
It's entirely possible.
Indiana made the Eastern Finals. They have Miles Turner's 2 for 10 every game. And they have Nemhard playing 40 minutes a game. And
I know.
Obi Toppin plays real minutes.
Trust me, I
Like,
think about this every time I watch them, but I'm just like, guess the process was for nothing.
right.
Turns out we would have been fine just with
I
like
mean, shit, you might be able to take Con Knipple with the third pick.
you're not taking Con Knipple with the third pick. Relax.
I do like Con Knipple.
No.
Who do you want with third pick?
I think you have to take Trey or Ace at third, but I like Edgecombe the most. I just wish we could get down to like 5 or 6 and take Edgecombe and get something else.
We'll talk about it after the pod.
Okay.
Who won the movie? It's a really tough one. For me, it's Olivier. Because
I'm going to go with Olivier as well.
I don't have the entry to modern movies that he made because he had, he basically
And we don't really
peaks in
talk
the
about it.
30s,
It's like an
40s,
incredible
50s.
baton pass of like an older style of acting to a new style of acting.
Yeah.
So I think that's
I think it's so cool that he's in this. And just in general, when somebody parachutes into a movie that's a super crazy famous respected actor.
and does something like this.
Yeah.
It's a brave performance.
All right, Craig, what do you got?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just a wonderful, incredibly suspense thriller, old school thriller. It's interesting that the number one takeaway I had was that I actually kind of didn't know what was going on in this movie for like the first whole hour.
Yeah.
Like I was just kind of genuinely confused.
That's in the book itself, you don't know Doc and Scylla, which is his code name, are the same person until Doc dies.
Yeah, I just think that's a symptom of like today. They would never do this today. Doc would have probably died 20 minutes into the movie. He dies, I think, 60 minutes in this movie.
Yeah.
And then you get the William Devane monologue like 70 minutes in. And that's when you start to like, at least for me, figure out what's going on, especially me being, so far removed from this era, not really knowing a ton about it. It was just a very unique feeling that you don't have anymore.
There are little clues that you get when you watch it over and over
Sure,
again.
I'm sure going back now, but in the moment, I'm just trying to like take in each scene.
When Zell's brother leaves the bank the first time,
yeah,
and he passes off the little case, the Band-Aid case, Doc has that in Paris.
Oh.
So like you kind of like start to get clued into kind of sort of what he's doing. But yeah, you're right. Like you really don't know what's going on until Devane.
And I kind of enjoyed that. I mean, it wouldn't work now because if this run Netflix, people would turn it off because they'd be confused. But if you have to like having to watch this movie and knowing like I will finish this no matter what, it's the payoff is just so much better. Having to build up this like all these things and figuring out how to put them together, and then an hour in, you're like, oh wait, okay, I'm starting to piece this together and see where things are going. It's much more fulfilling.
It's also pretty cool because, like, you know, you're going along watching Zell come back to New York, but you're kind of like, I don't really, like, what's this guy capable of?
Totally.
And then when he gets in that room, you're like, oh my God.
I think the Diamond District scene is by far my favorite scene. I think that was like incredibly, it just landed so hard.
Yeah, it's so disturbing.
I also like that there's another issue with movies now. I've never seen The Amateur, but if I had to guess, I bet you the villain in The Amateur is some like rogue foreign CIA operative. And I always like when movies have real villains from real life that you can actually get behind, and it's not like the faceless Top Gun Maverick shit.
Yeah.
It's a good call. I think he made a key Netflix point. The movie's so complicated in the first hour, people just flip right over to Love Island.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm out.
No shot.
Yeah.
No
You
shot.
have to almost have a captive audience.
Love Island, they switch partners. Got to see what happened there. I'm glad you liked it, Craig.
That was great.
It was written by our guy Goldman. All right, that's it for New York City month. So
It is?
I thought we have more.
no, we have 2 more left.
Yeah.
We think
We did
well,
2
for
of
this
You just said
installment,
that's it for New York City.
this installment of New York City month, we think there's a chance next week is the 400th Rewatchables episode.
Yeah.
Not positive. It gets weird because we did like 6 testers on the BS feed. We did 6 sports movie kind of Hall of Famers that were little test cases for Rewatchables. But then when we launched the feed, we put those on the Rewatchables feed. But I think if we're actually talking about true Rewatchables, and you include the first heat too, which we didn't do, I think this might be the 400th official Rewatchables episode next week.
Okay.
But we're not celebrating that like an anniversary because when we get to 400 movies, this was 387,
Right.
including Miami Vice, Calderon's Revenge, which is a
Technically.
TV movie, but we're still counting it. So 400 movies will be the one that I think we care about,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, let me know.
You like mojitos? And me and Van are doing Miami Vice live this summer.
Please.
it just gets better every year.
I can't rewatch it too many times before that, so just let me know. Because otherwise I'll just start watching Miami Vice.
You'll just be like
Andy will be like, what did you watch this week? And I'll be like, Miami Vice. That's it.
I told you I showed Ben the entire stretch from when he takes, what's her name? What's the actress's name?
Gong Li.
When he's like, do you want to get a drink? And she's like, I know a place. Do you like mojitos? I'm a fiend for mojitos. Or what do you like to drink? I'm a fiend for mojitos. And then they're just on a speedboat going to Cuba. So I showed Ben, and Ben was just like, what? How far is Cuba from Miami? He was just so confused. It's amazing. All right, at some point, that'll be an LA live show.
Not a Miami live show.
We have to go to Seattle at some point soon because there's a lot of Sonic stuff going on with them, and they want us to come. They're trying to bring back the Sonics and get the expansion team. Seattle loves us. We have to go do a live rewatch.
The
in Seattle.
re-singles?
Yeah. And then Indianapolis, which I had a great time clamoring for Rewatchables at some point.
We should have saved Breaking Away for them.
Yeah, we should have.
Did you go to St. Elmo?
I did.
How did you enjoy the shrimp cocktail? Are you a shrimp cocktail fan?
It's fine.
Well, we're not going to Indianapolis anymore.
No, they know. It's basically the cocktail sauce is the draw.
Well, it's the
I'd say.
horseradish. It's like the
They
mound
put a
of
ton of
horseradish
in it, but it's like, you could do that right here.
I've never been to
It's
Indianapolis. Okay.
It's fine. I love Indianapolis. Though. All right, next week, the 400th episode, but we're not going to celebrate New York City month. Are you on next week? Yeah, you're on next week.
Are you going to announce the movie or no?
Tell them.
Yeah?
Yeah, they've already seen it.
If people made it 97 minutes in, they deserve it.
All right, it's Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, DH with a V.
Yeah, that's next week. DHV. Thanks, guys. Thanks to Craig and thanks to Jack.
And Ronak.
And Ronak.